So it's been about 6 months since I had my ayahuasca journey. And I think I'm just getting in the mindset to be able to share with y'all what exactly ayahuasca was for me. So if you're interested or if you're thinking about doing the ayahuasca journey yourself, stay tuned. You gotta feel me. So my journey, to say, was a wild ride. I knew that I wanted to do something that was life-altering without being dangerous. I took some steps in order to understand what I wanted, and ayahuasca presented itself. So I'm gonna go into a few things that I wanted to make sure I had an understanding of before I sealed the deal with doing advanced plant medicine. So it took me long. It took me 6 months to actually understand what I wanted and how I wanted to convey my story. I say that because ayahuasca is popular right now. Everybody's doing it. A lot of celebrities, popular people, and I'm not gonna say they're doing it for a superficial cause, but I wanted to make sure that I was being 100% authentic to me and 100% on my spiritual journey, that I was doing what felt natural. Ayahuasca, if you don't know, is a 2-part plant medicine, often drunk, but there's some powder forms as well, of DMT. The body naturally makes DMT, but when doing it in a ceremonial way or taking it in a medicinal way, it cranks up the amount of DMT in the body. The 2 plants break down because one of them is the actual DMT, and the second plant is a form of medicine that actually allows the ayahuasca to remain in the system. So a lot of times if you have like a euphoric moment, it's not for long. Lots of higher epiphanies, they're short-lived. So I wanted something that was sustaining, and ayahuasca really fit the bill. I found out about ayahuasca through one of my very, very good friends. I knew that I was seeking something, but I wasn't for sure what the name of it was. I have always been in therapy. I've taken emotional intelligence courses, all things that would help me to really understand the psyche of me. But what really came up is I was having mental blockages. I had attempted to do subliminals. I attempted to do hypnosis therapy sessions, and they weren't hitting. And it's not because I wasn't trying or there was a fear of blockage, but on a subconscious level, I knew that there were things that either I had suppressed from a long time ago, traumas, things that have been instilled in me. I grew up Church of God in Christ. If any of y'all know that, baby Kojic is gonna hammer into you. And then also I served in the military, and you have to go through an indoctrination process with that. So I knew there was a whole bunch going on in a noggin. Even though I'm doing this conscious work, there were things on a subconscious level that weren't budging. One way that I knew that definitely was I do not dream. It was due to my traumas, and also there were blockages to where I wouldn't allow myself to go into that like lucid area. So with knowing that, I dove more into how on a subconscious level can I do therapeutic work, since a lot of the things that I'm doing, you have to be conscious. When I was speaking with my friend about what I was seeking out, she was like, hey, I just did an ayahuasca ceremony. You might be interested in that. And I was like, okay, I think I've heard of that before, but what is that? And she was telling me, and I was like, hell no. You want me to take drugs, drink something in a room full of people, and pretty much be on the strip for hours and Not for me. But she did spark my interest because when she was telling of the downloads and things that she experienced while being with Mama Aya, that definitely resonated with me. I wanted something that would speak to me, like I said, on that subconscious level, that would bring up the trauma, stuff that I didn't even know. So when I was telling her about my plant medicine experience, she said, yeah, I think you would like ayahuasca because it's that to the 10th power, and you're gonna walk away feeling really, really clear. That was the start, really, of what I like to call the call. I had that yearning. Like I said, I wanted to experience something deeper than what I was able to accomplish on a conscious level. Of course, there's things out there that tell you the cons, that tell you doing ayahuasca can do things to alter your brain in a bad way, depending on what, your dosage. If you're having a good or a bad trip, those are also considerations. But once I really decided that, yeah, this is it, I felt like the pros outweighed the cons. Really getting inside of my head and getting things out was the priority for me. I didn't want to come back the same. I wanted something to where I could be my best self. I wouldn't have any fears. The strong calling came and I was like, all right, let me go now and research a place to go. My friend, she went to an ayahuasca ceremony in the United States. And I was like, okay. I stay in Georgia, middle Georgia to be exact. So I'm in the country. There's really not a lot of those plant medicines or places available. So I really wanted to have an authentic experience. So I started to seek an ashram, or a place that performs holistic services outside of the States. And that just called to me. Being around nature called to me as well. So when I went out and I started looking, like Costa Rica, Mexico, Bali, I was like, okay, I'm drawn naturally because of the nature and the natural surroundings that they're doing it in. And I didn't even really know why. I just had that inkling that, okay, I need to be in a place where I could be primitive and primal. And that really spoke to me. When I finally found my ashram, I found one in Mexico, in Tulum to be exact, outside of Tulum. I contacted the operator of it, and she was amazing. That was really what sealed the deal for me, where I was like, okay, I'm making the right decision. I'm going to the right place. The ashram that I happened to go to was a yoga retreat. And the way they set it up is that the ceremony lasts a week. You prepare the days before, I'll get into prepare, and then at the end you do the ayahuasca ceremony, then you do an integration ceremony, and then return home. Upon the offering, I learned that the yoga and the meditation are going to be used to help prepare you mentally and spiritually to what's going to happen to you. Also, they offered a vegan diet. So really clearing out the system, really giving a place for Mama Aya and the plant medicine to come in and really clear out. So if you're eating like a lot of meat or things that are stuck inside of you, it makes it a little bit harder for the ayahuasca to work, and it has to clear out those kind of like superficial things. That's how I interpreted it, in order to help you get to the root of things. They also had other plant medication offerings such as bufo and kumbo. They had a cacao ceremony as well. And I did not participate in the frog medicines. One, because I just wanted to go for the ayahuasca, so that was enough for me. Would I do the frogs? I might. I'm not going to go out and seek it, but if I'm doing something and they happen to be offering it, I actually would do it. The ayahuasca ceremony, man, it's like I said, we prepared all week. We're doing meditations, we're doing yoga, hour and a half, vegan, and really in the jungle. So all your 5 senses are really integrated into what's going on. So on the day of the ceremony, we had our yoga in the morning, and then we stopped eating mid-afternoon just to, like I said, kind of empty the body, fast in order to go into the ayahuasca. That ayahuasca ceremony was 6 hours minimum. When you first get there, they had the ashram set up. They had different instruments, and then on the floor they had mats and pillows, and you can bring things of water to make you comfortable while you're sitting there. But really, you're supposed to stay in the area that they have you in. Once it got started, that first hour was not even anything medicinal. It was talking us through what the process is, and then we did hape, or the plant medicine, in order to prepare our minds and clear out initially anything to get ready for the ayahuasca. Ayahuasca is a liquid form, so ain't no specific measurements. It was a cup, maybe like a shot and a half of the medicine, and then after you take it, tastes earthy because it's plant, it's tree bark. You sit, and we were in silence for the first hour. And my biggest fear was that I wasn't going to take. Like I came to do these ego deaths, and I was scared out of my mind, but ready. But my biggest fear is that nothing at all would happen. Big mistake, huge mistake. That thing hit. It hit? Oh, yes, it did. And that's when they incorporated the music. Let me talk about the music for this ceremony, an integral part. So you have the medicine working, and you can feel it. Sometimes you're gonna purge, and that's getting out, and you can tell that's like emotions, just the way that the purge and how it comes up. It's not violent, but at the same time, like you can tell, like something's coming out, because I haven't ate. I've been drinking soups and stuff all day, so something's coming out. But the music also helped purge. So it was different types of music, and I can't even explain what like the genre of the music was. It was like folk tribal, but the music influenced whether you had a purge, or whether I was crying, purging that way, or whether I had epiphany where I was laughing, getting up, dancing, and then it was shifted again. So you would go through these cycles. If not naturally, like you would feel compelled to do them, the music will prompt you to do something as well. But I thought that was so cool. But at the same time, when I was purging towards the end, I was like, please stop, God. Enough. But no, it was needed. So I really like how music was a huge part of the ceremony. They don't want you to go far. They have you as kind of like an enclosed patio, so it was screened in, so you're getting the air and you're hearing the jungle sounds. By this time it's like dark, pitch dark, but they had a fire going and the music's going. So like I said, sometimes you're dancing, sometimes you're up, but you're really to yourself. They informed us during that first hour to tend to yourself. Don't integrate with too many people, because you might be interrupting what's going on in their, at their time in their journey. So it was a lot of time where I would sit and meditate. I know a lot of people say they see different types of entities. I did not. I did, however, get the God code. One time when I was meditating, I made sure to activate my third eye chakra, and that's when I started to get the God code, or like I like to say, you know how you play a video game, one of the old school ones, and it'll kind of like Snake, you'll have like the things going, and it's like different geometric shapes and colors and stuff. I had that. So I was like, all right, this is cool. I'm seeing all these things. But once I really tapped into the God code, I started getting all kinds of downloads, stuff about my kids, stuff about things that had happened that I didn't even remember. I was like, oh yeah. Like I said, the music's going at the same time. So if I was having a purge, I would think of like sad things, times where I hurt my own feelings when I allowed other people to play in my fucking face. All of those things are coming out. I'm allowing them to flow through. So that was really, really impactful. And to this day, I'm still receiving downloads from the ayahuasca ceremony. I'll have a dream, or I'll be sitting here awake, you know how you zone out, and then I'll just have things drop into my psyche, and I'm like, oh yeah, da 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 da. After the ceremony was done, the lights went on so we could see. They had fruit for us to put something on our stomachs. By this time, it's after midnight. Been sweating, been throwing up. They give you a bucket when you're sitting on your mat. Like, that's part of the setup for you to purge. So all these things had to be, you know, tended to. Then I went back to my room and slept. But the next day was a reintegration day where we met with the contact of the ashram, and she gave us some tips, and we listened to others and kind of what their takeaways or what they got from the ceremony. And it was really good to share that experience with people who you've been there with for a while, for the whole week, kind of start to make sense about what just happened. Another thing about my location I went to, it was very small. It was a group of 8 of us, so we got pretty close knit. We still speak to this day, and it was just a really family kind of oriented type of environment there, so we got along very well. I think this is part of the reason why too it's taking me so long to record this video, but I get asked when I do share my experience with other people, would you do this again? And the answer is, I don't know. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I got so much from the ceremony, life-changing experience. It really cranked up my spiritual journey and let me know what I was seeking me, and things were aligned. But going through that week of non-stop ashram, Mysore yoga, and vegan, you don't have to do that. There's other locations where, like I said, my friend that told me about it, she just happened to stumble upon it and went like the next day. But I like that I had to prepare for it. But how I'm feeling now and how I'm expanding in myself and how I energetically connect to the universe, right now, I don't feel like I need to go and seek that out. Now, if I went somewhere and they were offering it, maybe so. But I really like being in the jungle. I really liked getting, like I said, being primal, and that helped with really the ayahuasca for me, homing in on what I needed. I've heard that there's so many people that have done ayahuasca over and over and over, and they get something new. It's a new trip every time, whether it's good or bad. But for my first one, it was very good. And I don't feel the need to go and seek that out right now, but I'm open. I might need something else, or I might feel like I need another shift. So I'm not gonna say no. I feel like source is infinite, so I need to be an open vessel as well. Yeah, that was my experience. Like I said, I highly recommend, if you know that's something that you're looking for, or if you're trying to really connect to yourself in a new way and almost have a rebirth mentally and emotionally, spiritually, ayahuasca is life-changing. As always, if you have any questions, or please share if you've done ayahuasca, put down in the comments some of the things that you have experienced, locations that you went to. I'll make sure when I'm speaking to list where I went for mine, because they did a great job with facilitating everything. But yes, please care, bear, share. But as always, protect your energy, and I'll see you soon.